Welcome to the Simmons College Career Education Center webinar on writing an effective resume with a focus on formatting. This webinar will give you an overview of resume writing, and you will learn resume myths, resume musts, common mistakes for you to avoid, how to format your resume, some examples of standard section headers, and resume do's and don'ts. Let's get started. First of all, what is the purpose of a resume? A resume is used to spark an employer's interest in you. You should use your resume as a marketing tool to showcase your skills and accomplishments. Keep in mind, the ultimate purpose of a resume is to generate interviews, so you want to make it simple and easy to read. In order to successfully market yourself, you will want to begin by asking, what are potential employers looking for? Do some research, analyze the job or internship description that you're interested in, and be sure that on your resume you're emphasizing your relevant skills. Remember, a resume will be skimmed in about 6 seconds by a recruiter or manager at the screening stage. With this in mind, your resume should be clear, direct, easy to read, and needs to include the critical information that presents you the best it possibly can for the position. Now let's move on to some resume musts. As you know, your resume is a professional marketing tool to introduce you to potential employers for internships, volunteer roles, and on and off campus job postings. This written presentation and sample of your personal writing style must be concise and error-free to make a positive first impression. Your resume should highlight relevant information including your education, your paid and unpaid experience, your skills and achievements, and any on-campus activities. The type of experience and number of experiences that students and alumni will have varies. Just remember that your resume cannot always include everything. Instead, your resume should highlight the skills and experiences that are most relevant and important to the types of positions you are targeting. Your resume can also be the foundation of your LinkedIn profile, which is such an important thing to have today, as many employers source candidates from LinkedIn. In summary, your resume needs to identify your value to the employer, use keywords pertinent to the field or position, and be easy to skim and error-free. Let's talk about some resume myths. One common question is, how long should my resume be? There are no rules that it must be 1 page or it must be 2 pages. The reality is, it really depends. If you are a recent graduate, you may have closer to a 1-page resume. If you are an alumna with over 8 years of experience, you may have a 2-page resume. Resume length is dependent on many factors, including the industry and your own experiences. If you have questions about your resume length, a career coach at the CEC would be happy to help you. Another myth is that resumes need an objective statement or a summary statement. In the past, objectives were very common. Now we are seeing less objective statements on resumes for a number of reasons. They can be difficult to write, they are typically pretty vague, and most of the time, objectives do not add anything significant to your resume. We typically see our objective statements folded into our cover letters, so there is no need to repeat it on your resume. A summary statement is different than an objective statement because the summary statement gives the reader a concise introduction to you and should include your area of expertise, industry background, computer knowledge, specific industry skills, personal traits, and values. With a summary, you can select the keywords about your background that you want to highlight. Selecting the right introduction to your resume is to your advantage since you want to catch the reader's eye and you may only have 5 to 10 seconds of their time to do so. Summary statements are not required, although can sometimes be helpful for career changers. Check the CEC website for sample summary statements. Now on to resume sections. The standard resume section typically include personal contact information, education information, an experience section which does include paid and unpaid experience, and a skills section. As a current student or recent alumna, your education section should come first. However, if you have been out of school for 5 or more years, your education section should be moved to the end of your resume. Another important element to keep in mind is that you may have multiple experience sections. Some experience section title examples include related experience, additional experience, or you might also choose to have industry-specific titles. You might have teaching experience, social work experience, or clinical experience. As stated earlier, many times your specific resume question may depend on your industry or work experience, so feel free to check in with a coach at the CEC for your specific questions. Let's take a look at this sample resume of an undergraduate liberal arts student. Jackie is still at Simmons, so she has listed her education section first, followed by her experience, her skills, and her community service. You can check out our other resume samples, many of which are industry specific, on our website at simmons.edu/CEC under the Resume Career Toolkit resources. We also have a resume checklist for you to use as you develop your resume. As you look over your resume, make sure that it is easy to read and that there is enough white space around the margins. We suggest using bullets versus paragraphs, as this allows someone to skim your resume quickly. Consider using a simple and clean font, and be consistent and use the same font type and size throughout your resume. You can use capitalization, bolding, and italics for emphasis, just don't use too much of it. For your name and section headers, you can use a slightly larger font size. You also need to list jobs and internships in reverse chronological order within each section, and make sure you stick to a 1 to 2 page resume. If you have further resume formatting questions, feel free to set up an appointment with a career coach at the CEC by calling 617-521-2488 or stopping by our office on the first floor of the School of Management building. Now that the format of your resume is in good shape, check out our resume webinar on developing great resume content to make your resume even stronger. Thanks for watching. We hope you found this helpful.